What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on a topic that they was discussing on the Coach JB show, right? And his guest brought it up. His name is Darren. I forgot. I can't pronounce his last name, so I don't want to mess it up, right? But he spoke about ex NFL players getting all the head coaches all the head coaching jobs in college, right? Get all the college head coaching jobs. And so, and I think, in my opinion, part of the reason why these ex NFL players are getting head coaching jobs at the college level, I think is because they're not getting, in my opinion, I don't think like they're getting the opportunities to coach at the NFL level. A lot of those guys really probably would want to be coaching at the NFL level, but they're not really getting, they may not feel like they're getting a fair shake. And I think that it's easier for them to get those head coaching jobs at the college level, because some of those colleges are thinking like, well, if I bring somebody like a Marshall Faulk to my program, that will help far as recruiting, like a great NFL player like Marshall Faulk. If he comes to he comes to a kid's house and a kid, like, wow, man, he played in the NFL. Maybe he can help me get there. Or I don't know what college Eddie George, but Eddie George played the Tennessee Titans, and so those guys are getting the jobs. But then some guys who have been on the college level for years kind of resent that, right? And they spoke about this on the Coach JB show, and and saying that these guys haven't paid their dues. Where if you speak to some of these NFL guys, they would make push back and say, well, we paid our dues at the NFL level, and we don't think we're getting fair treatment at the NFL level. So that's why we're able to get these, we can come down here and get these jobs. But let's listen to what Coach JB and his panel and his panel had to say about those head coaching jobs at the college level, and then I'm gonna come back and give my input.
I'm a fan of Deion, man. I mean, I'm a fan of him as a player. I mean, his rise through college football has been documented. I think people are getting jobs that don't deserve jobs because of Deion. I mean, you see it around college football.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to earn your stripes. I'm a former NFL player, but I've coached 20 years in this profession. I've grinded my way up from a junior college coach to an assistant to getting let go to going to reinvent myself and grind my way up. And I see guys coaching for 1 year and want head jobs. What are we talking about, man? You got to earn it the hard way. You can't talk yourself into jobs. You got to earn it by what you do on the field and what you do in those rooms and what you do on the recruiting trail. I think people have lost sight of that, man. I think
we have. It's a disservice. I'm gonna be honest, Tev. It's a fucking disservice to kids. I'm just telling you right now. And Marshall Faulk, I love Marshall Faulk, and I know Marshall personally very well. It's a disservice to hire him at a fucking college right now as a head coach. It's a disservice.
It's a disservice to all the other coaches that have
fucking right. Every single one. I told Smitty 3 years ago, and I get Smitty's point of like, well, they have to get their shot, right? Like fucking JJ Redick and all these things. But there's so many guys we passed by that have grinded because they were told this is the way. You go get coffee for Nick Saban. You go cut film.
But if you think about it, like I said, at the NFL level, those guys, it's like some of those guys were doing that, and some of those guys were willing to do that. And you hear about like certain names as far as head coaches at the NFL level. Their names come up every year. Especially when it comes to minority coaches, right? They'll get an interview with some teams just interviewing those guys like with the Rooney Rule just so they can say, well, we interviewed somebody black, and so these black guys or minorities, they feel like, man, they get frustrated with the NFL system, and then they go down to the college level and they get jobs, and they take jobs away from people who've been down there for years who also they waiting on getting a shot down there at the NFL level. And so it's a complicated situation because like Coach JB just said, these guys, some of the guys who are getting jobs at the college level, as far as head coaches, they don't really have any experience. So they don't know how to recruit. They haven't really ran a program. They've been successful, maybe at the NFL level as a player, but they don't know anything about position coaching. They don't know anything about, being an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator because they don't have that experience. They're going to get jobs just based on their namesake, right? And so that's, and then when you go down to the college level, those coaches resent you coming down there because they think, look, man, I've been down here for 20 years grinding, and here you come, and just like Coach JB said, it was the same situation with JJ Redick. So JJ Redick got an opportunity to coach the Lakers. When every time a head coaching job comes up for the NBA, you had the same names that come up. Like Sam Cassell has been an assistant coach for years, and they, and so somebody like JJ Redick who jumps over top of him, people might say, well, that's unfair. So the whole system and how things are working as far as how they're bringing these coaches up, promoting coaches, and it's on a college level and an NFL level, I think is just professional level. I just think is kind of unfair. But let me listen to what Coach JB had to say and come back with some more input.
For this, you go. Now we're just Deshaun Jackson. You play in the NFL here. You're the head coach of fucking Michael Vick.
We're skipping steps, man.
Let me be devil's advocate. I 100% understand what you're saying from your perspective. You grind, you have to do it the long way. But if a guy does skip the line and actually performs well, though, in that role, then does it really? I mean, they got.
I think Deion's done a good job. He's had one good year, really, right, as a power forward head coach. He had the one.
But the bar was 1-11 though, so I do want to we all remember the 1-11. So
no, I get it. But he went 4-8 the first year, right?
That was improvement. I know it was a good year.
9-4 in year 2.
Yeah,
and didn't play well in the bowl game, and then obviously have stepped back and regressed a little bit. Listen, I'm a Deion fan. I am. Yeah. He's got to hire some good people around him that are solid coaches that can come in and help him. Because he's not calling plays on offense. He's not calling the defense. So, and obviously his health has been up and down. So he needs people that are good, solid coaches around him. I'm rooting for him because I'm a Buff, man. I want to see Colorado.
The problem I have with Smitty's like a devil's advocate part of this, if he don't though, if he's not good, you've passed up all the guys that have grinded to get the job, and just to throw out a face when you're not good. Like, let's be honest, it's a slap in the face to the profession. It ain't about a certain player or person. It's not a slap at Smitty as particularly if he's a GA and he grinded, and then I just throw a face in there. No, it's a slap in the whole profession. The way that Chev and I used to sleep at the AFCA convention on the floor of Ron English.
Yeah, I get what Coach JB saying. I also get Smitty's point about devil's advocate. Like if they do hire a coach just on namesake, right? Just because he's famous, somebody like Deion Sanders, Marshall Faulk, or what's the guy they just mentioned? Well, I know, like I said, I know that the other guy that came from the Tennessee Titans, he's a head coach in college. If they do have success, it's almost like you got to hit a home run when you bring those guys in, though, because if you don't, you set your program back, just like Coach JB said. Because it's just a face now, and basically you throwing all your marbles or putting all your eggs in the recruiting basket, hoping that these, somebody like a Eddie George or Marshall Faulk, they can just recruit and bring in the talent that's going to propel your program. But if they can't recruit, like they need to, and then once you recruit, you still have to be able to coach these kids up, because you can't, you just can't bring in 5-star ball players and just roll the ball out there and think you're gonna have some success, man. So it's in my opinion, I don't know, when people just work their way up, I think it's cool. People say, all right, well, I paid my dues. I hope that I'm, get a fair shot, and that's at the college level and at the NFL level. You want to get a fair shot. If you dedicating yourself, you making these sacrifices for years and years, and then somebody who's more popular just come along and get your job. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, because it happens at the major league level, the professional level, and then at the coach level. So it's trickling down. And let me see if Coach JB has some more to add to this.
To try to get a fucking job at Michigan, or to try Ron English sleeping on the floor with fucking Tuberville to try to get a job at Auburn. There was history to this. Like, I know to be fact. And Mike Leach, who was a Pepperdine University law school student who grinded as a GA and cut film to go sleep on the AFCA convention floors to meet coaches to get his foot in the door. Like, there was parts we're just slapping that shit now.
And it's sometimes when you take that route, like you make those sacrifices, sometimes it pays off for you. But then you gotta remember, though, like, number one, there's only a limited amount of jobs, and you're not the only one who's making those sacrifices. You're not the only one who's sleeping on floors. You're not the only one who is who's working, 16-hour days, maybe 20-hour days. And it's not gonna be it's not gonna be fair. So if you get an opportunity to skip the line, like JJ Redick did with the Lakers, then you're going to take that opportunity. And then it's like learn as you earn. With as far as if you're able to get in the door, somebody like JJ Redick. I know he is a basketball coach, but it worked the same way. If you can skip the line instead of having to for 20 years, try to prove yourself as an assistant. Who was the guy Eric Spoelstra, right? He started out with the Miami Heat, as far as he was working, like film in the film room. Pat Riley took a liking to him, and now he's the head coach. Turned out to be a really, really good head coach, but that like the Eric Spoelstra story is like he's 1 in a million. Like no other team in the NBA has somebody like a Eric Spoelstra that I can recall, so it's people bring up and promote who they feel comfortable with, who they know, who they have relationships with. So it's and then other people who don't have those relationships, they feel left out or they feel slighted. So I don't know what you can do about it, but I thought it was a great conversation that they had. Some people feel like they get cut out because they're minorities. And there's different reasons. Like if you are a minority, then you're gonna think it's because you're a minority. If you're somebody who don't have certain contacts, then you're gonna think it's favoritism in that way. So it's just crazy, man, how how life works, man. But all you can do, you still got to take that chance, put yourself out there. Yeah, man, I just thought that was an interesting conversation by Coach JB and his panel. Y'all make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.